What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made these beautiful, delicious, smoky, plump, amazing smoked salmon sausages. Coming up. This is some salmon. Pat it dry. Thought this one was skinless. Not too shabby. And what I got here is some beautiful salmon. Picked this up from my local Costco. And to be honest with you, I've never made a fish or seafood sausage before. And that's because, honestly, it sounds kind of gross, you know? Kind of weird texture. And I don't even know if it'll work from a protein extraction standpoint. But I was thinking about it the other day. Cured smoky salmon is already a very popular thing. So I figured, hey, might as well give it a try. Am I right? You know, it's got a beautiful amount of fat in there already. I know it takes well to smoke, and if it works out well, there's a whole bunch of cool garnishes we could start throwing in here. But you know what? Today is a bit of an experiment, folks, and one that I'm pretty excited for. I've already had this in the freezer for a little bit, so it's pretty firm, just to help with the cutting it up process here. But like every other sausage video, we're gonna start out by cutting this into little cubes. That'll fit down our meat grinder, shoot a little bit easier, but more importantly, get really cold in the freezer quicker, because we want to have a nice clean grind on this stuff and make sure we don't have any fat smearage. And for this sausage, I'm going 100% salmon. You know, I'm not going to add any pork fat or beef fat or anything like that, but you know, if this comes out really dry, that might be the next option. But as you can see, this is a pretty fatty chunk of fish, so I think we'll be all right. God, that looks so good. Should make a smoked poke bowl or something. And there we go, 5 pounds of some beautiful salmon going into the freezer to get nice and cold. Next up, let's go ahead and get all the rest of our ingredients together. Now that our salmon is nice and cold, through the coarse dye we go. Feels weird. Looks nice though. And there we go. Looking beautiful. Make some salmon burgers out of that, tell you what. As for spices for our 5 pounds of salmon, I'm going with good old-fashioned Chuds BBQ starter mix. This stuff is great for a 5-pound batch. Got your classic spices in there, a little bit of garlic, and it's got the milk powder in there already, which is going to be our binder. Great place to start when you're making sausage. It's just got pretty much everything you need if you're going for a nice savory profile. But to doctor this up a little bit, we're going in with our freshly chopped dill, the zest of 3 lemons. Oh, this is smelling good already, folks. Some finely diced up shallot, some capers for a nice little garnish, add some more flavor, and then we're going in with a little bit of water as our liquid, a little less than normal because salmon's got a pretty loose texture to it. And because I am going to be cold smoking these and turning this into a cured smoked salmon sausage, going in with some pink salt because that is not included in the sausage starter mix. And now it's just time to get this all mixed up. Oh, that feels weird. Feels more like a chicken sausage than a beef or pork, I'll tell you that much. But just going to mix this till everything is evenly distributed and this mix is starting to feel nice and tacky and nice and sticky. And there we go, looking pretty good to me. You know the drill from here, folks. We're going on with some 32 mil hog casings. Let these soak for the last 10-15. Fill them up with a little bit of liquid here. And by liquid, I mean water. And then just onto the horn we go. Tie it off, snip the tip, and now we case away. Just going for some nice, plump, average-sized little links today, folks. Nothing too fancy. Wow, that's a unique color. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Very loose, kind of like casing boudin or something. But that does mean it's gonna be a pretty quick process here. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these come out because, you know, make some little snack sticks. What do they normally put in a salmon burger? Probably should have looked that up. I don't know about a salmon and cheese sausage. That sounds like a bit much, but you never know, folks, until you try it. And just like that, 5 pounds of salmon sausage cased up, looking absolutely beautiful, if I do say so myself. So now I'm gonna pop these on this wire rack, uncovered just like this, in my fridge overnight. Gonna let the cure and all the salt hydrate and do its work on the meat, and let the skins dry out a little bit to give us that nice snappy bite, and we'll check back in tomorrow. This video is brought to you by ZBiotics. ZBiotics is the world's first genetically engineered pre-alcohol probiotic drink developed by PhD microbiologists to really tackle that rough morning after a night of drinking. I gotta tell you, the 4th of July was not too long ago, and let's just say we got a little rowdy down at the old Chud shop. But luckily I woke up the next morning feeling A-okay and was able to get right back to work without feeling any of the negative side effects of the night before. And basically how it works is when you drink alcohol, there's a toxic byproduct called acetaldehyde that's built up in your gut, and it's that, not just dehydration, that is the cause for those rough mornings after a night out. But ZBiotics produces an enzyme that breaks down acetaldehyde in your gut. Works very similarly to how your liver works, but in your gut where it's needed most. And to use it could not be simpler. Simply give it a little shake, pop the top, and make sure this is your very first drink of the night. And then proceed to have a wonderful time. I've been using ZBiotics for a long time now, and it really does work. The 4th of July fell on a Tuesday this year, which is kind of annoying. But thanks to ZBiotics, I got right back to work, and my workflow is not disrupted at all, which is very convenient for a busy guy like me. And it really just couldn't be simpler. So if you want to give ZBiotics a try for yourself, go to zbiotics.com/chudsbbq, where you can use code chudsbbq at checkout to save 15% off your first order. Again, that's zbiotics.com/chudsbbq. You can click the link in the description box of this video, or scan the QR code on screen right now, where you can use code ChudsBBQ at checkout to save 15% off your first order. Thank you, ZBiotics. One overnight later, these things are looking nice and plump, still looking nice and dry. So let's go ahead and get these snipped apart. Beautiful. Let's throw them on the pit. As you can see, we're going on the pellet grill today. Already got that smoke tube fired up down there with some post oak pellets. And we're just gonna let that roll for the next probably 4 or 5 hours, however long it takes, or until we get some really nice smoky color on these salmon sausage links. All right, we'll check back in a little bit. All right, it's about 5 hours later. Our smoke tube did its thing, smoked these things nice, got some really good color and flavor on there. And then I turned it on. It's been cooking at 250 degrees for the last 30, 40 minutes. And these guys are temping right at 150 degrees. So off they come into an ice bath to shock the casings, cool them down rapidly, and make sure they're nice and plump. Feeling pretty firm. Very unique color on there. Beautiful. And just like that, after a little bit of time in the ice bath, I pulled these out, dried them off, and they are sufficiently chilled and ready to go. And I gotta say, they're looking a lot darker than I was expecting. But, you know, that's what happens the first time you try something new. And the main reason for the ice bath is everything I just mentioned, but also because I cooked a whole bunch of these that I'm not gonna eat right now. 90% of these are gonna get vac sealed and tossed into the fridge for later this week, and the rest will go into the deep freezer for later this year. But I wanna see how these came out, so it's time to throw a few of them back on the pit. And you're probably sitting there thinking, hey man, if you're about to cook these again, why didn't you just leave some on the pit? And that's because I've done that before, where I just leave a few on the pit and they just don't come out the same as if I were to do this 2-step cooking process. Not sure what it is, but it really helps these casings get nice and snappy, nice and plump, and for a better sausage link. So I got that thing fired up still at about 250, 275. We're gonna throw a few of these on, let them come up to temp, probably around 160 or so. Then we'll slice it and see how they came out. Welcome back. Probably take about 30 minutes or so. And there we go, folks. Off the pit they come. These were rocking right around 170 when I pulled them. I've let them rest for just a little bit, so I think it's time to slice in and see what they look like. Been a minute since I saw a turd little sausage like this. Let's go for it. Ooh. Feeling nice and firm though, definitely nice and plump. And there we go, full of salmon, got a little caper sitting in there. Let's get a few more. Slicing up nice. I gotta say, that's pretty cool. It looks like a salmon dip, or one of those hot smoked kind of flaky salmons that you put on a cracker. Ooh, we should put this on a cracker. Or better yet, a bagel chip. Top that with a little dollop of some whipped cream cheese. Get a nice little slice of our salmon sausage. Plop that right on there, and top that with some chives. And there we go. That's a bite for an appetizer party if I ever saw one. Let's make a couple more. I don't know, folks, it looks pretty promising. Some smoky cured salmon in sausage form, studded with some capers on some cream cheese on a little bagel chip. I think it's time to dive in. I know this is kind of a weird one, folks, but I think it's got promise, but only one way to find out. Okay. It's pretty much exactly what I expected. It's got really good flavor. It's perfectly seasoned. It's nice and plump, nice and smoky. The capers add a nice little note to it. Dill freshens it up. It is a little dry. I think next time I would probably add some fat to it in the form of pork fat or something along those lines. But luckily, that's what these little guys are here for. It's a big pile of cream cheese will help. Now that's a good bite. Interesting looking wings. Yeah, that little appetizer is definitely the way to go. Which makes sense because how often are you taking a whole mouthful of cured smoked salmon in any other format, you know? I think this would probably be good if you chilled it and sliced it real thin as well, but I'm impressed that it actually held up in sausage form. Nice and smoky. Great flavor. Next time I get an invite to an hors d'oeuvre party though, this is what I'm showing up with. Definitely packed with flavor, tell you that much. It's kind of like bacon. Better as an addition to something else, as opposed to just a bite on its own, but powerful. I bet it'd make for a great dip, too. Well, I guess that answers the question, folks. Can you make salmon sausage? Absolutely. I'm gonna have to go get some actual bagels, because if you just shingled these, it's like a barbecue bagel salmon sandwich. Sounds good to me. Should we get a cross section? There it is. Yeah, definitely looking a little on the dry side, kind of crumbly, but all in all, cool color. Smells really good too. Honestly, not my favorite sausage I've made. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I experimented with it because I've been wondering about this for a long time. I think maybe if I undercooked it a little bit or added some extra fat to the party, it would probably help out a lot. And if you do plan on making these for an appetizer or showing up for a charcuterie board or something, just a couple of links would get you a whole bunch of these little guys. So I think it's a good recipe to have in the book. But without further ado, I think it's time for the official taste test. Nice little coin. Alright y'all, that is it. That is how to make a very tasty, quite unique smoked salmon sausage. If you're into sausage making, I highly recommend giving this one a try. It's always fun trying something new, doing something with a different protein. And honestly, this one was really close. The flavor was great, the plumpness was there, the smoke flavor was there. It was just a little bit dry, so maybe try cooking it a little bit less or adding some more fat to the party. Or maybe don't cure it. This would probably make for a really great fresh sausage. But if you give it a try, let me know down below. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button, let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you do give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace.